morning, Texas Lions camp. That was the way that our day started. So every day we would wake up the campers, get them ready for the day, head on down to breakfast. We'd stop by the infirmary if campers had medicines to take, and then we would go to the flagpole for flag raising. Once we had said the Pledge of Allegiance, we would then head on over to our activities. So we spent the whole day at different activities. We'd divide it by having lunch in the middle and also having rest period in the afternoon when it gets a little bit steamy in Texas. So that was awesome. We'd then have some dinner after our last activity, and we would head into night activities, which was something different every night. We had carnival, we had disco, we had night court, you name it, we did it, and it was fantastic. And we would finish on a Friday with our celebration closing ceremony.
So a typical day at camp will start at about 8 o'clock, 8:15 when we wake up. We get woken up by the bugle, camp-wide. Then we head to line up. We line up around the flagpole. We raise the flag, we do the Pledge of Allegiance, and then we have like morning announcements kind of thing. And then we turn and face the lake and we do our morning blessing. This is nothing religious or anything like that. It's just kind of thanking the day for what's coming, what's about to come. And if you've been to Matapanai, then you know that the lake is very special and very important. So that's why we turn and face the lake. It's our pride and joy. Then we head to breakfast. Breakfast is different every morning. The cooks in the kitchen just do an amazing job. Sometimes it's pancakes, sometimes it's, you know, something savoury like an omelette or, you know, omelette station or something like that. Obviously we've always got, you know, toast and the cereals and stuff like that available. But yeah, breakfast is always awesome, as is lunch and dinner and snack and everything like that. So after breakfast we head to back to our bunks for clean-up. We clean up for about an hour, get ready for our first activity period. That's when all the counsellors go to their activities. So like I would go to the dance studio because I was a dance instructor. All the kids would go to their first, you know, timetabled activity period. We'd have periods 1 and 2 and then have lunch. Have rest hour and then you go into period 3. And 4, periods 3 and 4. After period 4 is like a snack. It's just like 15 minutes. It could be a piece of fruit, could be like an ice block if it's a really hot day, something like that. Then you head into period 5, so there's only 5 periods in a day. And then after period 5 is shower hour. So we have an hour to shower everyone, campers, counsellors, everyone. Showers. Not all at the same time, but in the same time period. Then we head to evening lineup. We lower the flag. We do our evening blessing facing the lake. And again, any evening announcements, stuff that's happened throughout the day. If there's been, you know, an intercamp, like a intercamp competition or something like that, how do we go? Stuff like that. That's really fun. Then we head to dinner. Dinner is always an event. It's always amazing. I'm not going to go into it, but obviously there's Taco Tuesdays and just stuff like that. It's just really, really always fun. After dinner does not mean the day is over. We go into evening activities. After evening activity is supper, evening snack, and then depending on the age of your campers, is lights out.
So every single day looked different at my camp. My personal day, I would arrive to camp around 7:15 is when I would start for the day. From there, our kids would arrive anywhere between 7:30 and 9 o'clock was drop off. At 9 o'clock, we would go into morning snack and have snack time or breakfast for those kids that hadn't eaten yet. Then we would go into an all-camp assembly where we would have a staff member run the assembly in front of all of the kids while the rest of the staff had a small kind of staff meeting where they would find out what they were doing for the day and that kind of thing if they didn't already know. Then we would split into our groups for the day, and depending on your age and what day of the week it would be would depend on what your activities were. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays, our older campers would always go on a field trip. So whether or not that was to like a lake or a national park or to like a water park or something like that, they would 100% be going on a field trip Tuesdays and Thursdays. On Wednesdays, our younger campers would go on a field trip. They would go typically to the water park, or they would go to a national park or something like that. We did try and keep them away from the lake just for safety reasons and things like that, but they were somewhere where they could go and have a really fun time. And then on a Friday, it was chaos for us. We started our day with an all camp game, so we pretty much challenged all of the camp would be split into their groups for the day, and they would challenge each other at activities. And then we would go into lunchtime. Then after that, we would do get our groups together, and we would go to the YMCA, which was pretty close by, for afternoon swim session. So all of our camp was at the pool at the same time. We would come back, we'd do a campfire in the afternoon, and then the kids would typically be picked up anywhere between 4:30 and 6. Our staff would pack up, clean up, set up for the next day, and hopefully, fingers crossed, if everything went smoothly that day, we would be out of there by about 6:30.
A typical day at camp would consist of the bugle going off at 8 a.m. announcing wake up time. We would then have around 15 minutes to get to the mess hall for breakfast. After breakfast, we'd have an hour of inspection or clean up before our morning activities. After our morning activities, we'd go to the mess hall for lunch. After lunch, we would have rest hour. We would spend in our cabins just relaxing and having a break from the day. We'd then have afternoon activities, wash up, dinner, and then twilight. And twilight was pretty much supervised free time outside. Finally, we'd have a whole camp evening activity, which could be something like a bonfire or a game. Then we'd return to our cabins with our campers and get them ready for bed, and then the day would always finish with an evening bugle.
My camp program was really awesome because as counsellors we were allowed to structure our kids' day however we wanted. So we were allowed to pick the activities that they did and then in which order they did those activities. So we were able to start at the beginning of the week and then know what we were doing each day. So pretty much we started off the morning with getting up. We went down to the amphitheatre and did the flag raising and read the Girl Scout law. And then once we were finished that, we went and sung songs before breakfast. We said grace, then had breakfast, and then we took their kids to their morning activity. So pretty much when they got there, we would either help them do their activity, we would run the activity, or we would sit with them while they participated in the activity. And then we would probably do that all morning, and then we hit around lunchtime where we would have lunch, hang out again, sing some more songs. Then in the afternoon, it consisted of a bit of free time, which is awesome for not only the campers, but for ourselves as well. Then another afternoon activity just before dinner. Then at dinner, depending on the day it was, we would eat in the dining hall or have a cookout. Then after dinner, depending on the age of the children, we might do another evening activity. But if they were the young ones, sometimes I looked after kids as young as 5 and 6, we would definitely take them to bed right away because they were definitely exhausted after a day full of activities.
A typical day at camp would start at 7 a.m. with a devotion for the day, and then we would pray in our sections and organise anything for that coming day. After that, we'd grab breakfast before heading over to the drop-off tents where all the kids were dropped off for a day at camp. We would do flagpole, which would involve singing a patriotic song, saying the Pledge of Allegiance, doing an exercise, and saying a prayer for the day. After that, we'd split into our cabin groups where we would do our Bible study for the day, and then we would head to song time where we'd enjoy singing lots of Christian songs and have a time of worship. At my camp, campers could choose electives for the week, and these things included high ropes, swimming lessons, laser tag, arts and craft, soccer, and many more different things which were all awesome. After song time, we would have all-in camp activities. This would usually be things like scavenger hunts or capture the flag, but would also be the time when we did special events such as 4th of July Parade, International Day, and Camper Appreciation Day. After electives, the kids would head back to the pickup tents where their parents would pick up to take them home, and then after they'd all gone, then us counsellors would head off to grab dinner at the dining hall. And that'd be a typical day.